18.5K trading. I traded SPY today, and today I kind of want to go over my game plan, what I was looking at coming into today, and what I was able to do to catch this move. So just to start off, I looking into TradeZilla, the trades I took today, I took three trades, but it was actually just one trade that I took on three different prop accounts. You can see they were open around at the same time, just a few seconds off. I trade on my funded futures, Top Step, and Elite Trader funding. So I want you guys to take away from this video is how I was able to find this trade idea, how I go about executing, and how I manage my risk by focusing on R. So just to look at this, coming into today, I was looking at SPY and I was also looking at QQQ. I trade futures ES or NQ based on the SPY or QQQ charts. So I knew that SPY coming into today, we had this huge move up, and then we took a couple of days, 1, 2, 3 days, about actually kind of like 4 days to form in this range. And yesterday I was actually also looking at this breakout, but if you look back at yesterday, price was super choppy. So from there, I know that what I'm looking at in terms of the storyline from what we've seen so far was that we wanted to break out of this range, but we were super choppy and then got that huge pump up at the end of the day. And QQQ was also breaking out at all-time highs. So I knew that I wanted to anticipate a continuation, a cleaner continuation of what they wanted yesterday to be like. So that's why I had this 473 breakout zone marked out on my charts, a continuation, a better, cleaner move of what I wanted yesterday to be like, seeing if today we can get that move, right? So last night I chart out these zones. We see this clean range right here, and what I'm looking at is a breakout of this range. So coming into today, it's the end of December. I wanted to keep my risk a little bit conservative to kind of preserve what's been going on for the year, and also it's not been the best December start for me in terms of price action being easy as it used to be in the last 2 months. So I wanted to size down and preserve my risk. So you can see here on just this one trade, I took across six accounts on Elite Trader Funding. I risked about 6,250 to make 13,250. And you can see across the other accounts, my funded futures, I risked about 625 to make double that. On Top Step, I risked about 1,950 to make double that. So let's just focus on one account and how I went about executing this trade. So you can see my playbook is the clear breaker, which I just gave this name myself. Doesn't matter what you want to call it. It's basically a breakout trade. I took my first entry at 938 on all the accounts, went with 20 contracts, lot size, whatever you want to call it on ES, and had the stop loss of 4,807.5 at this pivot low. So just coming into the charts, let's look at what was going through my head, what I was looking at, and what allowed me to execute this trade. So as I've talked about before, we're looking at the breakout 473 zone. I want to see price come back in here in pre-market, retest, show strength of us soaking at this zone and showing signs that maybe today we will get that continuation that we couldn't get the prior day from this range breakout. In the opening couple of minutes, I'm looking at pre-market and I see that we're gapping down, coming into here, coming into the zone. In this first 15 minute before the 9:30 open, we get this 15-minute candle close with a soak on into that zone, closing strong, right? And then I'm looking at the opening couple of minutes. I usually wait to see a strong 15-minute close above the EMAs to show that we've switched trend. But since this is a second day play of what the move that I wanted yesterday, and then we were looking strong in the first couple of minutes, I took my entry on this candle right here. Well, actually on this candle, since we closed here and we were coming into this level right here in pre-market, I saw that we were reversing off my zone to get that continuation. So I added about 938, right? Let's see if it wants to load. 938. So I added within this candle. And from there, how I managed my trade was that I used the position size tool in TradingView to calculate my position. So you can see it was about two contracts for the risk that I wanted. I used about 625 risk, and I kind of multiply that based on the account into in the actual prop accounts. So here, six accounts took 20. So that's kind of like a two for four accounts multiplied by 2 for 4 accounts, and then just the one multiplier for 2 accounts, leading to 20 contracts overall on Elite Trader funding. And here I set my risk at the pivot low. So 400, 4807.50. That was the pivot low, and then my entry was at 4814 at 938. And then I set my target to be at 2R, right? I'm risking 1R to make 2R, which is the target was at 4827, which we got at about 11 a.m. or at 10:45 a.m. I don't remember. We could check in TradeZella to see when that executed. That executed about 10:32. Okay, I was way off. But yeah, and then one of the things that I like to do is I like to notice patterns that allow me to manage my trade well. I don't like to scale out if I'm going to risk 1R to make 2R. I do not want to make anything less than 2R on a trade when I'm targeting that level. So I do like to emphasize for my trading system, doesn't I don't know what works best for your trading system, to have a very hands-off approach. I have three rules, I think four rules actually. If it hits the stop loss, I'm out of the trade. That's one thing that will happen. If I hit 1R on the trade, so say my trade hits 1R. Oh, wait. 1R, right? If it hits 1R right here, I will move my stop loss to break even. Why do I do that? It's not just a random thing I came up with. I noticed that when my trades hit 1R and they come back to break even, there's a high chance that it will hit my stop loss, right? Now I'll say that again. If my trade hits 1R and then comes back to break even, there's a high probability that the trade will go and hit my stop loss right here. So noticing that, I understand that if it goes to break even after hitting 1R, there's a low probability chance that we will go to my profit target. So I rather have my risk at zero than take the 1R loss if I know that it's low probability to go back to my target, right? So that's one of my other rules. If it hits 1R, I will move my stop loss to break even. That's based on my data. It might not apply to you. And then my other rule is I just wait for it to hit 2R. And then my last rule is that I like to see, I like to set an alarm for 3 p.m. And when I leave the desk and I'm into this trade and my stop loss is at negative 1R or break even, whatever it is, and it still hasn't hit target, I like to just exit out at wherever it is at 3 p.m. because at 3 p.m. we usually get crazy moves and I just rather just call it a day at that point. If it's one of those trades where we're just taking the entire day to work, I do not want to stare at it the entire day. I'll just set my alerts and then leave. So here you can see that we did hit 2R, made about 18.5K about on the day. I want you to ignore the P&L. Obviously, I put that to, catch eyes, get views, whatever it is. But focusing on R, you can see that I made double what I wanted to risk. And it wasn't just a random, oh, I'll just take this tool and then make it like, okay, I'll risk 1R here and then, you know what I mean? It's based on a system and a system that works. I've seen that when we have a pivot low and we break into the anticipated predicted move that I had coming in with a low risk pivot that I see clearly there is, I can use that tool to get me that 2R move based on that, right? And I could get that 2R move. It's based on the system and it's based on R instead of the P&L. I'm not looking at how much I'll, make. I'm looking at how much R am I risking. And here it's 1R according to my risk management system. So that's kind of what I was looking at and what I traded. My other setup that I also wanted to touch on was this QQQ setup. And why was I looking at this was because if you can see here, I'm pretty sure this is all-time highs. 2021 should be all-time highs. I don't see anything above that. But I was looking at a breakout of this all-time high. Yesterday I was looking at to see if, because we got a huge wick up the last time we hit that level, I was looking at yesterday to see if we could get a rejection off that level, and that did not work. You can see here we were just kind of chopping around in the zone. This was initially yesterday my rejection supply zone, resistance, whatever you want to call it. But as you can see here, we were very choppy. So we did not get that, and then we ended the day with a huge pump out of this zone. So today I was also looking at a breakout here out of this zone, out of this 408 zone for an all-time high breakout on the daily, but I did not get an entry. It was not my favorite price action to trade because, when you're getting consecutive green candles going up, I don't see any areas to add on, right? Especially when the pre-market was super choppy at the bottom of that zone, whereas in SPY, we come down from the yesterday's highs, come back into the zone, give a nice retest. I like to add on retests. They're more confirmation, more safe to add on risk management wise. So those were the two setups I had coming into today. Why I took SPY over QQQ, how I went about executing SPY, and kind of how I go about managing my risk, the rules that I have in place for trade management, my very hands-off approach. I hope you guys were able to take away some value from this run through of this trade day, and I hope I get to see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.